Hello, everybody. Just want to go over the MLA workshop PowerPoint real quick with you all. Let's click over here. I hope you all are set with your essays, and what I mean by that is that you have chosen one of the prompts that I posted in the instructions, that you've chosen one, and hopefully you've started drafting it already, because this essay is due in a week from Sunday. So it's going pretty quick. My in-person classes, face-to-face classes, they have the advantage of going into class and we work on drafts and we do peer reviews. You all don't have that advantage, obviously, being at home, but remember, drafting is important whenever you're writing your essay, because if you try to just write something out and submit that as your final essay, it usually doesn't turn out really well. So draft out your essays and hopefully be working on them. The swimmer, the story of the swimmer, I posted that just this week. Apparently Blackboard failed to upload that like last week whenever I had opened up the module. So if you didn't see the swimmer on there, even though it's on the prompts, it's the story is now available to you guys, and it's a great story. So if any of you choose that story to write about, it's a great one, really fantastic. Okay, so MLA PowerPoint documentation, formatting and style guide. We use MLA. Right? When should you cite? You should cite, right? When, obviously, whenever your professors tell you, use MLA or APA or Chicago style. All these are different types of styles, right? APA is used at like NMSU, and a lot of the departments too at EPCC use the APA. But we in the English department use MLA. Okay, so you should cite always whenever you're trying to give credit to somebody else. When something is in your own writing, that's when you should cite the information, right? If you didn't come up with something on your own and you're, putting it in your paper, incorporating it in your paper, you need to let me know where you got it from, right? If it's not your own, if they're not your own thoughts, it's not an original thought, then you need to cite the information, okay? So, it's important because you can get into trouble, right? You can plagiarize, so don't. How do I cite my sources? Let's enhance right here. Obviously, ask your professor. Documentation preference, like I said, MLA, yes. Follow the detailed guide for the required documentation style. Now, okay, if you're like, I have to memorize all this stuff, you don't have to memorize any of this stuff, okay? At the end of this PowerPoint, there's a link to the OWL at Purdue, which has everything you need to know about MLA. But your books also have a whole section on MLA in the middle, okay? So just look for the MLA section in your Norton Field Guides. If any of you got the writer's reference book, that was in the syllabus. It wasn't required, but if you got it, then you could just use that too. There's a whole section on MLA in your writer's reference. Can you use a citation machine like here? Or the OWL at Purdue also has one. Yes, you can use them, but like I tell all my classes, technology is iffy sometimes. Sometimes it will cite it incorrectly, the information incorrectly. So I would just suggest learning to do all this stuff on your own, okay? Now, why should I cite my sources? To show credibility, right? Authority. If you're credible, that's establishing ethos. We're going to talk more about ethos, pathos, and logos. Not the next unit, but our last unit when we talk about arguments. That's when we're going to talk about ethos, pathos, and logos. But when you show credibility, that's ethos, okay? And it's important. Credibility means I can trust you. So if you're citing information, I'm like, ooh, this person's citing information, this student's citing information, they are incorporating something to support their argument, you'll sound credible, right? You'll sound like you know what you're talking about, right? So to fact check the support in your paper, yes, if you're saying, well, um, this is a fact, this is what I'm talking about, here's a source to prove it. Again, it's fact checking, but it's also establishing credibility. Lastly, most importantly, to avoid plagiarism. So if you're not citing and quoting and getting cutting and pasting from Wikipedia or from any Google source, it's plagiarism, right? And sometimes plagiarism can be inadvertent. You can do it, and you could copy and paste something or quote something, and you just forget to cite it. That's still plagiarism. So it's like you could say, well, I didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, but you didn't take the time to check over your paper and revise it to find that mistake, right? So avoid plagiarism, please, because if you plagiarize, like I've said in that video, like the first week of school, going over the syllabus, it's not fun. We'll have to have a conversation, and it's not good to fail, right? So don't plagiarize. And that's kind of a funny little cartoon right there. Now, MLA documentation style works cited. At the end of your essay, the end, like after your 2-3 pages that you write, you're going to have a works cited page. So let's say you have the full 2 pages for your essay. You're going to have a third page, and the third page is going to be this works cited, right? Most of us already know this, but in case you don't, you're going to need to include this works cited page in your upload, okay? So the works cited here, and here we go. We have the last name here. Page number, works cited. It's going to be titled works cited. Do not title it citations. Don't title it. Don't title it references. References is for APA style. Just title it works cited, okay? Now alphabetize it. You're only going to have one source, okay? So you're not going to have all these. You're gonna need to alphabetize when you have more than one source, for like your last essay, and I think the next essay maybe 2 sources you're going to use. So you're going to alphabetize them by last name, right? Just so here the example, Andrea Baer is the first citation here. The second one is Colleen Burgess, so it's alphabetized. Megan K. Christensen, has, etc., etc. So for your next essay, or for this essay, you only need one source. Can you use more than one source? Yes, you can. You can use, I'd say no more than 2, just for this. It's a short essay, so no more than 2. If you do use 2 sources, then you're going to alphabetize it like this, okay? If you only have one, then just worry about the one source, okay? You only have one entry here. Now, it's going to be double spaced throughout, okay? Double spaced, titled, works cited, like I said. Hanging indent. A hanging indent is, you see, if in case any of you don't know what a hanging indent is, this first line is regular, right, over here, and then every subsequent line is over here indented. That's what we call a hanging indent. And it's easy to do that. You could just Google how to do a hanging indent. If you're not sure, just type out the citation, and then you highlight the citation, right click, and then it gives you an option that says, I think, paragraph, and then you click on that, and it says hanging indent. You click hanging indent, and it formats it this way, okay? So it should be formatted this way for every citation you have. Not all sources are created equal. Yes, and what that means is that, some of them will be longer. Like let's say you used like an online scholarly journal, right? You will have to include like the volume number and all that information. If you're just using a website and some, you know what I mean, like something simple, you might not have all this information. You won't need like volume numbers or all that stuff. It just depends. So what you need to do is just go over that, and I'll show you where to see how to cite all the information, because I know I'm showing you this and you're like, well, how do I cite it? I'll show you where to go right now at the end of this this video. But also it's in your book, or in your writer's reference if you did get the book. It will show you how to cite websites, newspapers, journals, even YouTube videos, right? Just they're all different. Okay, they're all cited differently. Just keep that in mind. Now, MLA documentation. These are in-text citations. These in-text citations are going to be different than the works cited page, and you've seen this before, I'm sure. If you haven't, then just follow this. Okay, you have parentheses whenever, let's say, you're quoting Carver, right? The story. Let's say you're talking about Cathedral in your essay, and you're going to quote a passage from Cathedral. So after the quotes, right, quotation marks, you quote it, and then you put a parentheses like here, and then you would put in the parentheses Carver, only the last name of the author, Carver, and the page number. Okay. So you need to cite the stories as well. I think most of the stories have page numbers. If they don't worry about putting a page number. Just put, Carver, Auden, if you're writing about one of the poems, or whatever, the author's last name. So in text citations, we go by author and page number within the parentheses. Okay. So you're going to quote not only the story, or paraphrase the story. I would say quote, use quotes. Okay. Use quotes to support your arguments. But you can also paraphrase. It's fine. For your outside source, you can quote that too, or you can paraphrase it. But remember, whoever the author is of your outside source, author, page number. Okay. Now here's an example. A recent study determined that Himalayan brown bears eat both plants and animals. And here we have parentheses, right? Notice the period isn't over here. Parentheses, author's last name, page number, and parentheses, period goes afterwards. Now this is, perfect because it's the author's last name and the page numbers. And there's no quotes here because this is obviously paraphrased. I would say, wow, you know a lot about brown bears, right? Or Himalayan brown bears. Like, where did you get this information from? Now they got it here. So they're citing last name. These are two authors, and page number. Okay. Second example, Rathor and Chowan determined that Himalayan brown bears. Now this is correct too, because indicating who the information or where the information is from at the beginning of the sentence, that's called a signal phrase. Okay, this is a signal phrase right here. You could say Carver, let's say you're talking about Carver, right? Carver analyzes, or Carver argues that such and such, and then afterwards you would just put the page number. You don't need to put the author's last name back here since you already indicated it here at the beginning, right? It's called a signal phrase. Now this is wrong because it's both names here. That's redundant, okay? So you only need it once. Take out this one. This one, easy, because there's no, there's no citation. So this is pretty simple. Just follow this format right here. Constantly check your style guide. Check. How to cite a YouTube video in text or whatever, right? If there's several authors, if there's 3 authors for your citation, for your outside source, let's say there's like 4 authors, you need to know how to cite that information, but your style guide will tell you how to do that, okay? I'm not expecting you to memorize any of this stuff. I just want you guys to at least search for it, how to do it, okay? Don't guess. You can even ask me. You could say, hey, Professor Munoz, I'm not sure if this is right, or go to the writing center too. I keep telling you all, I don't know that any of you have used the writing center so far, but again, you don't have to go in person. You could just email it to them and they'll check for you. They'll check if you're like, don't read my essay, just check over my citations. They'll just do that for you as well. So that's easy. Now, excuse me, in text citations, quoting. Use quotation marks to signal the start and end of the broad information. Yes, we know this, right? So if you're quoting a passage from the text that you're going to be writing about, which you should, start it with the quotation marks, then quote the passage. Try not to do anything over 3 lines. Just try to cite, don't cite a bunch, because if you're over quoting, that's wrong. Not wrong, but it's just, it sounds like you're overdoing it, and I want to see more of your writing rather than just quoting, right? Paraphrasing must be entirely in your own words and roughly the same length as the original text. Yes, that's paraphrasing, but you still need to cite the information because it's not yours, right? So paraphrasing and summarizing, they're a little different. So paraphrasing, it's the same length as the original text that you're paraphrasing. Summarizing is a little bit more condensed, so shorter, okay? You still, again, whether it's quoting, paraphrasing, or summarizing, you need not the quotation marks, the parentheses at the end, and author's last name and page number. Okay. Let's see here in text and parenthetical citations. Now, if you have something in your text, like a citation, make sure it's in the works cited. Okay. And vice versa. If you have a citation in the works cited, but it's not in here, go back and insert it wherever, So just make sure that they match up. Okay. So if you have a citation in the text of in the body of your essay, make sure it's in the works cited. And if you have something in the works cited, make sure it's in the text. Otherwise, let's say you have something in the works cited, but it's not in here, I would say, well, where did you use it? Where did you use the information from this author over here, right? Does that make sense? So just make sure that they're both, it's either in the works cited, or that it's in the works cited, it's in the text, and it's in your body, it's also in the works cited. Okay. Use signal phrases with varied language. Now, this is a little bit more varied, right? Instead of saying, let's say you're using a Dr. Smith as your source, right? Your outside source. And instead of saying Dr. Smith argues that Carver is, was an alcoholic crazy guy and his stories, blah, 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 whatever. Instead of just saying such and such argues, which is easy to say, you can say acknowledges, states, right? Contributes, shows, emphasizes. Not all of these are going to work, right? Because let's say attacks right here, you're going to say Dr. such and such attacks. No. But you could say, instead of saying states or says, you could say suggests, emphasizes, right? Again, acknowledges is good. Or argues, instead of just the same thing over and over. Okay, so when you're using signal phrases, you can go back and use one of these. Okay, one of these words. Now, brief guide. Again, author's last name, page number, no comma or P, right? So you don't put Guinness P8, period. It doesn't go here. Period goes after the parentheses. Simple. Parentheses, author's last name, page number, and parentheses. It's not the author's last name and year, okay? No year. A lot of students keep putting, the year. That's APA style. Don't put the year of the publication. Just author's last name and the page number, okay? It's pretty simple. Documentation overview. Format your headings, yes. Have, right, your MLA heading at the beginning of the essay. Remember, some of you still didn't do this for your first essay. You need to have an MLA heading, MLA heading, top left-hand side of the first page is your full name. After that, enter, and then you have my name, Professor Munoz, enter class, which is English 1301, enter, and then date. After that, on the top right hand side of the essay of the first page, or not of the first page, of every page of your essay, you should have your last name and page number. Okay, also. So margins are 1 inch, and the font is Times New Roman 12 or Calibri 11. Okay. MLA documentation has two main components: works cited page, yes, and in-text parenthetical citations. Avoid plagiarism. Please use your handbook resources. When in doubt, ask your professor or the writing center, okay? Now, here's the main page, okay? The main page to find out how to cite your information. You're like, well, okay, he talked about all this stuff, but he didn't show me how to cite a journal. Okay, so you go here, click on the at Purdue website link, and this is on the last page of, that link is on the last page of the PowerPoint, okay? Or second to last page. And then it will take you to Purdue OWL, okay? And here we go. From here, where do you go to? Avoiding plagiarism. This is good. You can check this out too. APA, no. MLA guide. You click on this. And then start here. General format. This will tell you how to format your essays, MLA style, okay? So if you're like, okay, well, I don't know what the format is, or I don't know what he keeps talking about. For the essays, here you go. Formatting the first page of your paper. Upper left-hand corner, name, instructor's name, etc. Everything I just told you guys. So here it is. And it gives you a sample of how to do it. There's the MLA heading right there. Here's last name, page number on every page, right? And then you have a title. Remember, title your essays, guys. Some of you didn't have a title for your first essay, so title it. And don't just title it essay number 2, like I mentioned for the first essay. Don't just title it essay number 1 or essay number 2 or essay number 3, or don't title it literacy or literary analysis. Title it something interesting, something fun. Get creative. Okay, so that's just formatting the first page. But you're like, okay, well, let's look at the meat and potatoes of this MLA guide. Click. Jeez. It will start loading. Sorry, guys, I had to restart the computer because it got stuck on the page. But anyways, okay, that's just to see the formatting of the first page. Okay, now if you click on MLA guide, and if it loads, it's been taking forever. It will show you how to cite pretty much everything. Okay, and I suggest following this website. Let's see here, it's loading. I don't know why it's taking forever. Okay, finally it got to the page. So the general format, we went over that real quick. Now, in-text citations, the basics. This will give you the basics. MLA formatting and style guide. Check that out. All this information is here, and it's all right here, right? Formatting, in-text citations, how to cite the information, right? MLA formatting list, MLA formatting quotations, MLA endnotes, works cited page, the basic format, works cited page books, works cited periodicals, how to cite electronic sources. It's all here, guys. Okay, so I would, suggest just going over all this information, and whenever you have your sources, just going to the link that's provided at the end of the PowerPoint, and it will take you here, and you can find out how to cite anything pretty much, right? YouTube videos, scholarly articles, websites, which I know a lot of you probably will be just using a website, and that's fine. So it's good information. Just check all this on your own. Go over that information on your own. And there's a link again in the almost last page of the PowerPoint. If you need more help, again, my email. Remember, you can email me whenever you need help, and I'll be more than happy to. There it is. More than happy to assist you in whatever way. So that's pretty much it, guys. Remember, you just need one source, at least one source, no more than 2 sources for this essay. Cite. Don't overdo it with the citations. Remember to quote, though. Quote from the story or poem that you're writing about. Don't just talk about it. Remember, for the first essay, I told you all, show me, don't tell me. Same thing with this essay. Show me where. If you're talking about Indian camp, show me with a quote what you're talking about, what you're trying to argue. Show me with quotes, passages from the text. So remember to quote passages. You can paraphrase this stuff too, but show me. Don't just tell me what the story's about either, right? Argue something. That's pretty much it, y'all. I hope y'all are working on your essays, and that you hopefully don't find it too difficult. Okay, if you have any questions, please email me, and let's have a good weekend, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Okay.